Why she speaks English. Princess Leonor of Spain. Morning light filters through a vaulted hall. Flags hang still. Microphones wait in disciplined silence. A young voice answers in English. Unhesitating, measured, unremarkable, and therefore decisive. It is not performance. It is preparation. For Princess Leonor, language is not an accessory of education. It is an instrument of state. Language is not education alone. For Princess Leonor, it is institutional readiness, signaling continuity in a world where legitimacy is heard as much as it is seen. Spain's monarchy does not speak often. When it does, it must be understood beyond its borders. This is the first principle most observers miss. The heir is not trained for domestic admiration. She is trained for international legibility. 2 minutes in, the assumption quietly collapses. This is not about sounding impressive. It is about sounding reliable. In modern governance, credibility travels through shared language. Alliances form faster when translation is unnecessary. Trust settles sooner when tone does not distract from meaning. This is the living thread of continuity. English is not chosen because it is fashionable. It is chosen because power now operates through it. After Spain's democratic transition, the monarchy learned that survival required fluency, not only in law, but in perception. To be misheard abroad is to be weakened at home. National identity is woven into these rituals. When the heir speaks English with control, it signals that Spain's continuity is interoperable with the world. That its institutions can still interface with allies who measure stability by clarity. Because accent is not about sounding foreign or native. It is about not sounding uncertain. In the United States, leadership is calibrated through confidence and clarity. In the United Kingdom, through familiarity with inherited rhythm. Canada and Australia listen for steadiness rather than flourish. Germany listens for precision, and notes the absence of excess. Language becomes a proxy for governance. At 8 minutes, the deeper mystery appears. Why this discipline so early? Why such emphasis on neutrality of tone? Because words travel faster than policy. And mistakes in language linger longer than mistakes in law. There are things she is not allowed to say. There are tones she is trained not to adopt. Emotion, when audible, becomes interpretation. Silence, when shared across languages, becomes authority. Around 10 minutes, the institutional strain edges into view. The world is less patient with inherited power. Scrutiny is sharper. Missteps are amplified instantly. In such an environment, multilingual fluency is not luxury. It is armor. Continuity is not abstract here, it is embodied in visible presence and audible restraint. At 14 minutes, the point of no return arrives quietly. Once the heir becomes the voice abroad, retreat is no longer possible. Every word will be archived. Every inflection compared. There will be no room for casual speech. By 19 minutes, a future pressure line is visible. A Europe negotiating its relevance. An Atlantic alliance reading symbols closely. A global audience that equates clarity with competence. In that world, a monarch who must pause for translation pauses authority itself. English is not replacing Spanish. It is protecting it. The final moments return to what first sounded simple. It means preparedness without display. Belonging without surrender. A future sovereign already speaking the language of continuity. The hall remains quiet. The microphones power down. The words linger, understood, unchallenged. And history listens closely, because what comes next has not yet been spoken. Fluency does not end at pronunciation. It extends into restraint. As Princess Leonor continues her preparation, language becomes less about what is said and more about what is withheld. In institutions that endure, the most powerful statements are the ones that cannot be misquoted. This is why the training intensifies. Every sentence is shaped to survive translation, replay, and political weather. Every pause is measured, every emphasis deliberate. The voice becomes infrastructure. For monarchies operating in a multilingual world, English is not dominance. It is access. Access to allies without intermediaries. Access to credibility without explanation. Access to continuity without friction. This is the living thread of continuity. The deeper tension emerges quietly. Fluency creates expectation. Expectation narrows margin for error. In Washington, unscripted speech is celebrated. In London, deviation is absorbed by tradition. Canada and Australia read steadiness as reassurance. Germany reads precision as seriousness. The heir must satisfy all of them at once, without belonging fully to any. This is not versatility, it is discipline. At this stage, the risk shifts. What happens when the voice becomes too familiar? When fluency invites commentary rather than deference? Institutions do not want their symbols debated. They want them accepted. Language, once again, becomes boundary. She speaks clearly enough to be trusted, not personally enough to be claimed. This balance is fragile. As global scrutiny tightens, every word will carry institutional consequence. A misplaced phrase becomes headline. A softened tone becomes interpretation. The response is not silence. It is controlled presence. The point of no return is not accession. It is recognition. The moment foreign audiences begin to hear her is the voice of Spain itself. From then on, language will no longer be skill. It will be obligation. English remains the chosen medium not because it is neutral, but because it is unavoidable. Power moves through it. Markets listen in it. Alliances signal through it. Spanish identity is not diluted by this. It is defended. The final pressure waits ahead. A world impatient with ceremony. A media environment intolerant of ambiguity. A generation that mistakes accessibility for authority. Whether restraint can still command respect remains unresolved. For now, the voice remains steady. The accent remains controlled. The words arrive without friction. And the institution continues preparing, aware that the next sentence may carry more weight than the crown itself.